Hi guys, today going to have a look at tank removal and what's underneath the tank, how to get it off, how easy it is to get off, and also one of the reasons for removing was to look at what hose length and cable length we've got to play with for when I come to put taller, wider bars on. I didn't want to go and order some bars and then have a real pain running cables and such. I've done it before, but I didn't really want to have to alter any, so we'll look at that in some detail together, and obviously hopefully it'll be of use to you if you're looking at doing the same. So first of all, I thought I'd give you a little look at what the tank's like when it's off, and the connections underneath, sort of things that you're going to be looking at if you want to take the tank off yourself. So here, pointing here, there's a connection into the fuel pump there, electric connection into the fuel pump there. You've then got another electric connection here, so there's just two electric connectors that you need to remove, and then this connector, hose connection, easy to remove. Close up here, got this button here and another one on the opposite side. You just squeeze those together with your fingers. You only need your fingers, finger and thumb, and squeeze those and pull it away from the connector, which I'll show you now. You don't need to remove this one. I did remove that before I found this one. I wasn't quite sure what I needed to remove. Obviously I'm experimenting and I've not got a manual, so that one doesn't need removing. So you've just got one fuel connection, two electric connections, and then there's two I think overflow or breather connections. One down here you probably can't see, just behind this, just by this label, and one there. They're just push fit fuel lines, breather lines, not under any pressure or anything. I didn't get any leaks out of those. A little bit of fuel came out when I disconnected that one and when I first disconnected that, but like I say, you don't need to disconnect that. You only need to disconnect that. Just need a bit of shop towel and you can catch any fuel that comes out of there. So lots of stickers underneath from the rigorous testing that Royal Enfield now do, and there's a little look underneath. When you remove the tank, you'll find, like most motorbike tanks, on road bikes, you've got these that slip onto rubber bushings, and then you've got two bolts to hold the back down. So pretty simple to get off, but it is useful just to have a look underneath so you can see what you're going to be in for. I think I will keep it off whilst I remove these, and I'll put that on another video. And I also, as those who've seen my other videos will have seen how I damaged that. So at some point the tank is going to be probably either removed altogether and replaced, or it's going to be repaired, probably just repaired really, because I'm perhaps going to do some different emblems on here and things. So that's that. Just a quick point before I continue, there was some criticism on one of my last videos about me working in the hallway. I'm okay with it, my wife's more than okay with it, so you don't need to be worried about it. Okay, so here's a look underneath the bike. Obviously to get to the bolts you need to remove and things to get the tank off, you'll firstly need to remove the seat. For those of you that don't know, to remove the seat, just easily take the side panel off, or just a point on the side panel. There are these connections here that have got that they connect into rubber bushings, just there and there. They connect into rubber bushings, and a metal spigot goes into that rubber bushing there. They slip on much easier with a little bit of silicone grease. If you just put some silicone grease on the rubber bushings, much easier to get that on and off, and obviously that's where your toolkit lives. Pop that and your saddles off, seats off, whatever you want to call it. Give you a little detailed sweep for anybody who's wanting to know anything that I don't pick up on this video. You don't need to remove your tank to do your tappets, do your valves, but it's fairly easy to remove your tank, so to save dropping it or causing any damage, then you may as well just take it off, because it's very easy. And then for those of you that want to do that yourself, just much easier, take the tank off, and then you can get to that much easier. So to remove the tank, as you saw, there was that corresponds to one of the electrical connectors that I've showed you. That's a fairly standard connector, and then that's the other one that connects direct to the fuel pump itself. Those are your two breather hoses, or one's probably an overflow I think, and one will be a breather I presume, and they go down, I think, or at least one of them does, maybe both of them, there's a few different connections, down to this, what I think is your evap canister, and that's referred to in your manual, so just a point, it does tell you if you've read or not read, it refers to not warning against overfueling, because excess fuel can end up in that and it might damage your emission control system. What that would do, I don't know, but just a warning, no need to overfill it, so bear that in mind. And lastly, the main connector for your fuel, the one that I pointed out that has a button either side, sort of a pincer movement, that connects onto this spigot here, so then obviously gets from there directly into your throttle bodies. So whilst we're here, just a bit more of a detailed look from above for those that are interested, that want to see what goes on under here. That's obviously your holes where your two bolts, where those two bolts hold the back of your tank down, and these are the rubber bushings that the front of your tank connects to, so you've got one of those at either side. So the other reason I wanted to remove the tank was to look at the hose length and cable length that we've got to play with for when I fit taller, wider bars. I really wanted to fit some quite wide tracker bars with a good sweep on them, but I think without a lot of messing around, I don't think I'm going to be able to. I think it will involve altering the wiring and changing all the cables. I have made custom cables for my wife's bike, but I just don't really fancy doing it on such a new bike. I may do, I'm going to think about that. I'll see what I've got to play with. The main one is probably this front hose that's going to be the issue, and the electrics. These, worst case, you could leave them this side of the fork. It's a bit messy, but I have seen it done, particularly temporarily, but I don't really want to. But yeah, this front hose, so you'll see you've got this hose comes up from your caliper up and under the tank to the control centre, which presumably for the ABS, and then you get one back out of that goes back actually to your lever, so that is only fairly short. There's not a lot of movement in that. There's probably enough, you have a look here, if you can see, there's probably enough to allow for some rise on the bars, but not a lot to allow this to move much further along any wider bars. I don't want to start messing about with all this and trying to bleed it up and stuff when I haven't got a manual telling me what's going on with all that, because honestly I don't know what I'm doing and I don't want to bugger it up. I'm actually quite surprised that there isn't more leeway in the cables and the hose on the bike from the factory, so that's one of so far is one of my main criticisms. And it's a bit of a case with a lot of bars. Off-road bikes don't seem to be that bad. They've usually got enough to play with. But I know from doing my wife's bike, a Kawasaki road bike, that as well, there was hardly anything in it. And particularly with this bike, with Royal Enfield, with it being aimed at customizers, people wanting to do stuff to it. It would have just made life a lot easier if they'd just given a little bit more leeway in the hoses and the cables, and also the wiring, just to make it that bit easier for people like myself, home modifiers that don't really want to get into swapping cables unless they really have to. As I said, I have done it on other bikes, but brand new bike like this, I just don't really want to get into that, so I think I'll just do probably a bit more of an interim solution for now. So everyone, hopefully that's been useful to you, giving you a bit of an insight into how to remove your tank and what's underneath there, what to expect. It's actually quite simple. I had the criticism of the bike on the cables and such. I think the more I'm playing about with the bike, it's a positive in that they are very easy to work on. There's only minimal tools required generally. I mean, I have got a number of tools and I do use different things, but really with a good set of spanners and a socket set, you're good to go. Well, one last point, anybody who has fitted any wider bars or got any recommendations on wider bars, tracker style bars, things like that, I'd love for you to leave comments and any links to anything that might be worth me having a look at. So thanks again, please subscribe, please comment. Enjoying everybody's comments. Generally everybody's pretty nice on there, only a couple of bad apples, but not letting that spoil the experience for me, and I'm sure nobody else is. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, please thumbs up, and have a look at my other videos. And as I say, more and more will be coming as I do further things to the bike. So see you later, audio, and bye.